promised you that during this hour we were going to talk about creating a therapy team, and in this first little bit I want to talk about how, first of all, what decision you make when you're creating a therapy team and how you go about finding a team. So the first thing that you have to decide is, are you going to pay these people or are you looking for volunteers? And one of the things that I want you to know out the gate, let's start with step one, is that you need to acknowledge that you need a team. No matter how you're going to do this, if you're going to be the main provider of the ABA for your child, you still have to have a team. And we've talked about generalization a lot. Generalization is so important, and we talked yesterday about the fact that when you generalize, you have to be able to teach something across different times, different settings, different stimuli, and different people. So you're not going to truly get the best chance at generalization if there's only one person delivering therapy. At a bare minimum, you gotta have two. And that's where we come up with team. I would encourage you to try to have 3 people on the team. If it's not possible, you can do it with 2, but 3 is going to make it even that much stronger. So right out the gate, acknowledge that you cannot do it by yourself. And I have yet to meet the person who can, or that it would be healthy for them to do it. You're going to need a team. I've talked about circling the wagons before. Just know that that's what's expected, and that it's not some fault of yours that you can beat yourself up or berate yourself because you cannot do this by yourself. I just don't think it's possible. And I haven't seen, I'm a big fan of let's not reinvent the wheel, right? I've never seen anybody be able to do it by themselves. So I guess, if somebody needed to be a hero, but I don't think it's what's best for the child. Let's leave it at that. So once you know, okay, I've got to have a team, then you got to look at your situation and see what your assets are, right? And where your deficits are. And for a lot of us, deficits are going to be in the financial situation, right? Autism is expensive in and of itself. And then if you're going to put on top of that you're going to pay employees, for most of us, for the vast majority of us, that's just not possible. If it is possible for you, I am so happy for you and thrilled for you. And we're going to talk a little bit about some things you can do to safeguard yourself. But for the vast majority of us, that's just not going to be even potentially possible. It's okay. I'm here to tell you that there are plenty of people who have done this with volunteers. The volunteers are out there, but you got to make the decision before you make the first step. And it may be that maybe you have a little bit of money so that you're going to pay somebody to be on the team that's a little bit more knowledgeable, or you're going to pay for some consultation, a really good choice, and then you're going to apply some volunteers. In a little while, we'll show you the Maddie video, and that's a great example of a family who took CARD learning and skills. They trained their team of volunteers with CARD learning, and they used skills as their curriculum, and they didn't pay anybody, but they got it done. If you're thinking to yourself, wait a second, how am I going to get volunteers in this economy when there's no jobs? How am I going to get people to devote the time and the energy and to learn how to do the things that I need for them to do? How on earth am I going to get people to donate their time? Well, there are lots of different ways that you can get people to volunteer their time. And I want you to remember that, especially in this economy where job skills are key, and autism, unfortunately, is a field that is just growing. And as more and more people are seeing the benefits of ABA, looking at the science and seeing this is so effective with kids, and more people are wanting ABA therapy, they're looking for trained individuals who have been working with the autism population and know ABA. If you take CARD learning and train a group of people, one of the things that you can say to them is, you're going to get a job skill here. And I personally know a lot of people who are interested in gaining a job skill, even if they're getting it with no pay. It is a really powerful incentive for them. Also, there are organizations that it's what they do, is they donate time to people. I've heard of sororities who for a year will say, we're working with this family, and the sorority sisters, it is their project, it's part of their charter, and the sorority sisters take turns. They learn this skill. They're thrilled to do it because it makes them more job marketable in the job market when they graduate from college, and it's something that they work on together, and there is a level of pride that results because the child gets better. also have to tell you that what happens a lot of the time with a lot of these people, maybe autism is not the field that they're studying, maybe they're interested in something else, but they want to have these job skills, and they come in and they start to work with your child, they learn the techniques, and what happens is they get excited about it. Because there is something about it that is so reinforcing when you see a child who couldn't do something and then suddenly they can, it gets exciting. And I saw that with my child. When my child went from somebody who couldn't communicate at all to suddenly he was requesting things, and he changed. He just changed. He morphed before our eyes. I know I got excited. I thought it was just because I was his mom. But as I talk to more and more people who go on to become BCBAs, board certified behavior analysts, and the question I always want to ask them, and that I do ask them, is how did you get into this? A lot of them say, I was doing something else, but I had this opportunity. I worked with a child and I saw what happened, and it was life-changing. So don't be afraid to look for volunteers is my sort of long and short to that. There are people out there who want to help you. But either way, once you've decided between volunteers and employees, you need to place ads in strategic places to let people know that you're taking applications. And there are lots of different places that families over the years have found that are effective. Of course, colleges are a good place. Sometimes there are some colleges that have created internships around this kind of thing because they're getting training. And especially if you're using CARD e-learning, they're getting top-of-the-line training. I would encourage you, a lot of people say, go to the psychology department because you're going to find the people who are already interested in this kind of thing. Yep, I would absolutely do that. Post it in the psychology department, talk to the head of the psychology department, tell them what you're doing, let them know, and chances are that you might get a couple of really good interested people who already have a jump start and already have an interest in ABA. But I would encourage you not to stop there, because we've seen over the years that when you find somebody who's passionate about one thing, passion can very easily transfer. So go to the music department, because sometimes there are people who are passionate there who are going to be really great with our kids, and they're going to think outside the box, and they're going to be really good at play. Check out the theater department for the same reason. Check out the art department for the same reason. We, from time to time, we have Dr. Jonathan Tarbox on the show, and he was a history major in college, had a plan. He was going to go into history, and a mom posted on his college campus and said that she needed some help working with her child. And it changed Dr. Jonathan Tarbox's life. He's now the head of research and development here at the Center for Autism and Related Disorders. Brilliant, brilliant man. And, there was some mom that one day said, I think I'll just put this up in the history department. So I guess my point is, cover the college campus. And you're going to get an opportunity to interview them and get a better idea of what you think. But there are other places besides college campuses. Again, you can go to service organizations, sometimes whether it's the Rotary Club or the Kiwanis or the Lions or the Elks. My goodness, there are all those different organizations, men and women organizations. And a lot of times, if they can't help you, they can point you in direction of people who do, who can help you. So church is another good place. If you belong to a church or there's a church you're looking at, there are some churches that have a specific division that's just to be able to help people who are differently abled, and it's part of their mission, and they look forward to opportunities to go out into the community to help people on a regular basis. And I always encourage you to tell your friends and family, too. Put it out to them in an email and say, hey, this is what we're trying to do. We're looking to find some people. Because you will be amazed at who in your family says, hey, I want to be a part of this, or who they forward it on to, that, a friend of mine, her daughter is exactly looking for this kind of a thing. She wants to gain experience with this kind of thing. So always amazing when you put it out there, what comes back. I know one person wrote in and said, what was amazing to me, that as we told our family and we asked everybody who had time and energy and interest to help us out with this, and her brother-in-law was the one who stepped up and said, I want to be useful here. I want to learn about this. I want to be involved, and that it totally changed their relationship and was this amazing, amazing journey that they went on together. Okay, well, you got to know what to post, right? So make sure that you're clear and succinct. You want to put the requirements that you individually want to have met. You want to put the qualifications, and it's going to be different for everybody. You know, you may want somebody who's got at least 2 years of college, or that may not matter to you. You want to be able to put your expectations. For instance, are you wanting somebody who's going to volunteer for a minimum of 8 hours a week? And I would suggest that 6 to 8 hours, somewhere in there, is a good place. You don't want to be training people who are just going to take the training and run. So you want to say, I want a 6-month or a year commitment and 6 to 8 hours a week. I know it sounds like a lot, but the reality is that most places where you volunteer ask for that kind of commitment. So don't feel squeamish about that. People get this done all the time. I know it feels weird. It's okay. You want to be upfront and say if there's compensation, how much it is. If there isn't compensation, what kinds of things they're going to get in exchange. The fact that they're going to get training, that you're going to write them a brilliant letter of recommendation, right, which cannot be understated. And again, that it's this wonderful training opportunity. They're going to get skills that are going to serve them very well in the job market, right? And you can even say to them that, you know, if you learn how to do this, here is the salary range in our community of what it will garner once you have this experience. But a lot of times people want a year or two experience before they'll hire somebody to do this kind of thing, and you're going to give them on the volunteer job training. Okay, then you're going to screen the applicants, and it's really important that you make sure that the people that because you're going to let these people into your home, you want to make sure that they're safe and that they're going to do the job and do it well. So I always encourage you to check your gut. You meet with these people, meet with them in a safe environment that is not your home for the first time, and get a vibe. And I encourage you to meet with them more than once, because a lot of times people in the first interview can hold it all together, but by the second interview, I don't know, there's just things you don't see in the first interview. But always go with your gut. If somebody is giving you an off-putting vibe, don't invite them into your home. Listen to your gut. Check Megan's Law. But even if Megan's Law says they're fine and there's no problem, if your gut says no, it's a no. I give you permission, right? Get a video monitor. This is one of the most important things that I believe in. You get a video monitor, if not a couple of them, because you want to be able to listen to what's happening. It's the way that you're going to have a more effective team. It's going to let you know that your child is safe. I told everybody who came into my house, there's a video monitor. I want you to know that I'm seeing and listening to everything you say and do with my child. I was able to sleep when I couldn't sleep because I knew that my child was safe. I learned so much from listening to them do the therapy with my child. I learned who were the strong members of the team. I was able to say, hey, we might want to try this way. I was able to be more efficient and effective as a team member because I could hear what they were doing. Check references. Get references and check references. Really check them. And look for people who are passionate, articulate, creative, intelligent, and have a sense of humor. Because those are the people, look, you're going to entrust them to be teaching your child, and those are the people you want to work with. Those are the people that you want to have an influence on your child. And those are the people who are going to take the kinds of things that happen in stride, because some stuff is going to happen. I always refer to the one therapist in our house that in a moment where my son had a reaction that wasn't something that he normally did, he picked up a Geotrax and just whapped him in the middle of the forehead before the therapist had any idea what was coming, and the therapist had a sense of humor about it. Of course, he did not laugh in the moment because that would be reinforcing it, and my son would have done it 38 more times thinking, oh, I get a laugh when I whack you. But afterwards, I still know this gentleman, and I always look and say, there's got to be a scar there because he whapped him good. So you got to have people who aren't squeamish, people who are passionate, people who are going to be able to play with your child. So this is how we start to put together our team.